Hey, how you doing? My name's Heero. This is the Identity Booth, and our objective here is to identify with you as you identify with us. We're going to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse case in a very truncated way. We're going to break it down and kind of have a conversation about everything. So let's just get to the points, right? Let's get to the hardcore facts about the situation. Kyle Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old teen at the time who crossed state lines. A lot of people have been talking about he crossed state lines. It's not against the law. The Second Amendment right gives you permission to travel across. Now, if there's city ordinance in place, there's a conversation for that. But crossing state lines where guns are both allowed in both states, that's not the issue. He basically had his friend purchase a AR-15 for him. He went into Kenosha to help protect property that was neither his or his life was an issue. So he basically, and I think the best way of putting it, Kyle Rittenhouse went hunting for chaos. Like he was hunting for chaos. He was looking for trouble because our paramedics, he claimed he was going out there to be a paramedic and help keep the city safe and the people of Kenosha safe. But when paramedics come to my house or when I travel with paramedics when I'm doing a transplant, they don't have AR-15 strapped across their chest. But he was basically hired to watch over a car parking lot. And I looked at some of the cars in the parking lot. Nothing in that parking lot was worth getting shot over. But basically, this was a protest that was going on in response to someone who had been shot in the community earlier that week or month. And this was the reaction to it. All last summer was a bountiful amount of outcry for police justice, like police reform and social justice. And just keep that in mind. These people weren't protesting for vaccine mandates to go away. These people weren't protesting to get something terrible to happen. They were just asking people to politely acknowledge their lives, and maybe police should be held accountable for shit that they do in the streets. And this caused people to go out in droves in vigilante justice. And there's tons of hours of footage out there that shows Kyle corroborating with police, corroborating with these militias. But the key point is when he killed the first individual who attacked him with a plastic bag, and then the subsequent issue of him running, falling on his own, and then a group of people, based on what the juror will say, they deliberated for 8 hours today and they came up with nothing. So they'll continue deliberation tomorrow. But basically, what happened when he hit the ground, one person hit with a skateboard, one person kicked him, those people got shot. Then the third person, the person with the skateboard got shot, and then the person who had his arm blown off. So he then gets to go home, and there's just a lot of things here. From a justice standpoint, there's a lot of issues here. One, the statute for long rifles was written horribly when it was written, but this is also done on purpose because state rights and they want their guns, so they write their laws really bad so that people who get in trouble with guns can get away with these type of things. So one of the gun charges was dismissed, which would have been the one for him holding a barrel that was longer than 16 inches. I think the gun length and barrel was like 24 inches. So he won't get in charge of that. And that was a key charge for a lot of people because if any charge could be pushed on him, it could be him holding that gun. That's something he is guilty of based on what he admitted, not based on what the law permits. He admitted he was underage holding a weapon, but since it says only 16, that is the hindering part, and also the length of the barrel was also a hindering part. Another thing that you have to take in consideration is the prosecution didn't get the only surviving witness prepared for this conversation, because that witness went on stand and said the one thing you would never want to say when the person who is clearly trying to use the self-defense argument to his benefit and say that you went up there in a threatening manner. Because you gave him all the ammo he needs. Shout out to the 9 people watching. You gave him everything you need, and you failed the prosecution. But that's neither here or there. The truth is, what do I think, right? What do I think is going to happen? Do I think Kyle Rittenhouse is going to jail? Yeah, I think he could go to jail. Do I think he's going to go to jail for what he's being charged with right now? No. And that's where the conversation kind of evolves. So let's take a look at the AP, shall we? Based on what we know and what he's being charged with, this is explaining for the charges, right? And this was updated 22 hours ago, yesterday. So this is the most recent. I believe this is also the one where the charges have been updated. First degree reckless homicide, use of a dangerous weapon. This is a felony charge is connected to the death of Joseph Rosenbaum, the first man Rittenhouse shot. Bystanders video said so. This person right here, this was the first person who attacked him with a plastic bag. Do I think that he's going to get first degree or a lesser charge? I think this might be downgraded to a lesser charge because this is the one instance where there was no, like, this guy wasn't a threat to him past the paper bag. And like, if he and once he neutralized that threat, he should have surrendered himself if he truly didn't intend to. Like, there's a bunch of what ifs and what about him, but I think this could be a lesser charge, or maybe they wipe this completely. But it's important to note that during the deliberation for 8 hours, the jurors all requested pages 1 through 8, which is basically the notes that they can reference as it pertains to this case. And the things that were important to note on that was, what is the definition of self-defense? What is admissible as self-defense here? And what would be considered a surrendering statute? Like something about him, if he made the statements that he didn't want to do anything, and if he was, after he was safe, after the original threat was neutralized, what would be reasonable actions for a person to take? And those were they requested 11 more. So basically everyone had a question about this. If this was a not guilty flat out, this would already be done with. But I think the juror is more interested in putting on charges or charging him to a lesser effect, which I'm down for and I think is appropriate. Like, you aim for the sky and hope you fall in the middle, right? So the second count is count 2, first degree reckless endangerment, safety, use of a dangerous weapon. The felony charge is connected to Rosenbaum's shooting. McInnes told investigators he was in the line of fire when Rittenhouse shot Rosenbaum. The charge is punishable by 12.5 years in prison. The weapon modifier carries an additional 5 years. So this is super interesting. Because it then, hey, what's up, Bumfuzzle? Go check him out. I can't do my shout outs, and it's really bothering me. I can't get my shout out button to work on my deck. But what up, Bumfuzzle? I appreciate you coming through. This is interesting because this actually might stick. In the event of him trying to neutralize someone that was a threat, and that's sort of like the place where my mind goes. If that bullet that he shot at Rosenbaum missed and hit someone else, this is an open shut case, because while you were trying to stop someone from hurting you, you didn't have the means to do it without hurting other people, and your liberties don't extend past hindering another person. So this is a very plausible situation where he could see the full charge of this, because by him trying to stop someone, he put other people in danger, and you can't do that. You can't put someone in danger in order to maintain your rights. But again, that's something for the jury's thinking. That's just my opinion. And a lot of people are wondering, well, what expertise do you have? Well, I have a master's in forensic pathology. So I'm the expert witness that they call to the stand. So that's what I did for 3 years in Texas. Charge 3, first degree reckless endangerment, safety, and use of a dangerous weapon. Video shows an unknown man leaping at Rittenhouse, trying to kick him a second before Anthony Hubbard moves his skateboards towards him. Rittenhouse appears to fire 2 rounds at the man, but apparently misses as the man runs away. Okay, and this is another situation. Exactly. Okay, a person and they could use self-defense, but the person is trying to disarm this guy. At this point, everyone thinks he's an active shooter. This is when he fell, right? So when he fell, everyone assuming they know he killed someone, so they think he's an active shooter trying to escape. So they're trying to detain him. And one brave soul goes up, the black guy, I believe, he kicks at the gun, he misses, but he fires 2 shots. And once again, the question is, what happens if those 2 shots hit someone else? Like, it's just, you can't be out here just shooting anyone that approaches you. Like, this would be the equivalent of if I was walking in a store and I had my gun on me and someone bumped into me and I just fired 2 shots and my excuse was I feared for my life. No, you can't do that. Like, if you're afraid that much, maybe you shouldn't have the gun, or maybe you shouldn't go outside. Pick one. Count 4. First degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon. And this is when he killed, Rittenhouse was running down the street. This is when he killed the dude with a skateboard. This is probably the one that I could see being wiped out altogether, because that guy was trying to end him with that skateboard. Do I think a hit from the skateboard could have killed Kyle if it hit him in the head? Yeah. If that skateboard connected in the right spot, it could have caused lethal damage. And was that the intent of the skateboarder? Well, we'll never know. He's dead now. But that one I actually see being wiped away. Number 5, attempted first degree intentional homicide, use of dangerous weapon. And I believe this one engaged when he tried to shoot off his arm. This guy, he kind of sealed his fate. This one is going to be dropped because he said he had a gun, he pulled the gun, and he raised it to him. That's a threatening matter. This case, that's open and shut right there. So he kind of gave that one away for our opposition. I just don't see a situation where after making a statement like that, you can get off. It's just no. 7, failure to comply with emergency orders from state or local government. The version has been updated. The correct second reference to the additional charge and the jury may consider in reckless endangerment, not reckless homicide. Okay, so this one is this is just a fine, $200. He could be found guilty of this, which is chicken change in the grand scheme of things. Kyle Rittenhouse has people literally from the right wing, QAnon, white power, white supremacist groups paying for his stuff. So that is it. That is my opinion on it. Do I think Kyle Rittenhouse is going to jail? Yes. Do I think he's going to go to jail for what he wants, for what we want it to be? No. But in the grand scheme of things, there's a part of me that also believes he won't see the inside of a jail cell. I just don't believe it. I'll be pleasantly surprised if he gets charged for lesser charges. Going past that, I do not see that being a possibility because, and what we'll talk about in the next segment is because of the crazy bullshit that has been happening in this case, right? The crazy bullshit that has been happening in this case. We're literally going to talk about that.
We can catch the vibes, but it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime, and I'm sleep deprived. Shorty on my line, and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down, and we can catch the vibes.